Hello!
We're happy to see everyone.
It's Tuesday.
It's been a quick minute since we've seen you, so we hope you've been having a pretty good week.
Yes.
And just all of the things. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, everyone. We're so happy to see you guys pouring in. This is fun for us. We missed you last week, but we're glad to be together again, and we hope you guys are doing well. There's a lot going on, and we understand that. Hi, guys. As you are navigating this personally, with your families, with your children, with everything that's happening, we just have our hearts with you, and we ourselves have been reflective and trying to do our best to learn and grow, because if you know us, we know we love opportunities to learn and grow and become and then share and help. So that's partly why we have we're having this conversation today about how to have or any questions or issues with having an unmedicated birth.
So I know there's a lot of women out there that are pregnant. Are you missing something?
Just that paper.
And like our specialty is unmedicated, unmedicated birth, and so I know that we know that all birth is amazing.
Yes.
We want you to know that we don't judge on anybody's birth. We don't judge on how you bring your baby into the world. We don't judge how you desire to.
It's a miracle, no matter what.
Every single time that a baby is born is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So,
it is.
But what we specialize in is unmedicated birth. And so those of you out there that are thinking about it, that are wanting it, that have had unmedicated births, that have tried and maybe gotten pretty good and pretty far, and then maybe wanted to try again, or I don't know, like there's lots of different options out there. So maybe you're thinking, yeah, that would be cool, but I'm scared. Like, what if something goes wrong? What if I can't handle the pain? What if
nobody supports me?
Yeah, or that's something I want, but it's so foreign to my husband or my partner, and so I just don't know if he will be supportive in what I want. Or maybe he's like flat out not supportive, or maybe you're not feeling support from your parents.
Care provider.
Yeah, your care provider, your mom, or mother-in-law, or like every time you talk about it, you're shot down as far as like your desires and people thinking like, why wouldn't you want to have
an epidural or whatever?
Yeah.
Which again is awesome, but even if you're planning on having an epidural, let's say that you're like, oh yeah, no, I'm not doing that, I'm having an epidural. Most of you, even if you plan on it, you have to go through some sort of labor.
Yeah.
You have to.
Or even if you don't, there's an element of vulnerability in every birth. In every birth, whether you're feeling the contractions or not, whether you actually have the sensation or not. And so preparing your mind, birth is actually a very, very intense mental game. So preparing your mind, preparing your spirit, preparing your emotional state is incredibly important. And so those of you that are planning for an unmedicated birth, like Miriam is saying that she is doing 9 days and an unmedicated VBAC. That's awesome, girl. Come back and tell us how it goes. We love
that
birth experiences. So but just know that those who plan for an unmedicated birth tend to have a better outcome just because they have mentally prepared themselves.
And when she says better outcome, what she means is a positive outcome.
A more positive
outcome.
Like feeling like when you reflect back on your birth, it's more you feel more positive about the events that transpire.
Because so what we're going to do, I want to just let you know what's happening with this live today. We want to tell you about some studies and some things about having an unmedicated birth or preparing for an unmedicated birth, regardless of what happens. But then we want to give you the 5 key factors to achieving an unmedicated birth. And then we're going to go into some questions if you have any. We have answers because the big thing that we want to announce is that we are launching
we're now enrolling.
Sorry. I guess I want to say launch because it feels really
so
exciting.
It's true. We love every time.
Yes,
we're so excited.
We are launch enrolling our summer session of our Unmedicated Birth Academy online birth course. So we want to share that with you, but we also want to give you a lot of value before we go into that and the details of that.
Yeah.
So,
and even if you're not planning on, or if you're not experienced, or if you're not pregnant, or like, you'll find some value in this.
Yes, you will. And I love, let's address Nicole's question really fast because this is a great one. She said that with this baby, I'm having a home birth, and for some reason, I'm nervous about it, even though my other births were unmedicated births. And she's looking for some advice. Okay, Nicole, stick around because one of the key factors that we'll be talking about includes a really great aligning exercise that I want everybody to participate with
tonight.
So, if you can. And so stick around. We'll talk about it a little bit because you're right. It's so interesting as each birth, even though you've had an unmedicated birth, it's still, there is a layer of anxiety. There still can be a layer of anxiety.
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
There's always an unknown.
Always an unknown. So, and I think that's what's scary for a lot of women is just the unknown. And that's where a birth education class actually is hugely important because it takes away a lot of the unknown. We talk about your body in depth, like what is happening, why your uterus functions the way it does. Then we talk about the ways you can prepare mentally, emotionally, physically for this baby, and then how you can ask those around you to support you even
and how to communicate well.
Yes.
Because that, like, we hear that all the time is like, okay, I'm heard that I'm supposed to be my own advocate, but like how am I supposed to be my own advocate? Or there's people in my life that don't support me, but how do I talk to them so that I feel more supported, or to communicate what I need and how they can support me. So we actually go into that as well.
We go into that. But let's start first with the 5 keys to having an unmedicated birth. And we'll talk about them a little bit in depth. The first key, and the reason it's number 1, it could be number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But we don't want you to miss the first key, which is the ability to relax.
It's a big deal. So your body is actually, your uterus works better. It is a muscle.
It's a muscle.
So your uterus is a muscle. And think about when your muscles are tensed up, it's really hard to make them do what they need to do. So like, imagine being in the cold, and when you're so tensed up, like in your muscles, it's hard to walk, it's hard to move, it's hard to function.
It's hard to talk.
And like, think if you've ever taken a hot yoga class, and so when you've relaxed and let those muscles warm up and move, you actually get into deeper stretches, and you move, your body moves so much more and has much more
flexibility and range.
Yes, and so it's the same thing with your uterus. So your uterus actually moves a ton when it's in a contraction. And so the cool thing about that is if you're relaxed with it, then your uterus can actually move, and every contraction that you have is more effective, and therefore you need to have less of them to get your baby out.
And that is worth its weight in gold. Honestly, just that ability to, instead of meeting pain with tension, it's meeting pain with relaxation, and meeting that sensation with relaxation so that your uterus can do its job. It's meant to, it's working exactly as it should. Mm-hmm. And the cool thing about childbirth pain is that it's manageable. It has a positive outcome, and you get a break. It's not like this ache and this like pain. Yeah. It's like, it's intense for a moment, and as you learn how to relax your body through it, it ends, it crests, and then it comes back down, and then you get a break. And so it feels really much more manageable. And if you can remind your mind, just, you can do this. Just 60, you can do anything for 60 seconds. And if you have to say that with every contraction,
That's okay. Yeah.
You will be shocked at how far you can go.
Yeah.
In
just in the relaxation.
Just in that.
Well, and let me ask you this. Like, do you feel like in your own life, do you feel like you're constantly doing, like, you always have a huge long to-do list? Do you always feel like you're always busy? You're running from one thing to the next. You have a million things on your mind. It's hard to fall asleep because you're just like, oh my gosh, I forgot this. I need to do this. I need to remember, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's like you're constantly going, right? Blah, 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 blah. We have been conditioned for this. This is our unfortunate culture that is kind of what do we like? We honor the busy.
Yeah.
Like we wear it like a badge of honor almost. Like, right. Oh my gosh, here are all the things that I have to do. And so we actually are not conditioned to relax, which is really unfortunate because that's the best thing that's going to help you in your labor.
That's the secret sauce is the relaxation, the ability to just turn off your mind, let your muscles just gently fold. Yes. And get in there. And I love what Jordan just said. It's 90% a mental game, which is absolutely true. Mindset is huge, Krista says, because it is. And the cool thing about taking a birth education course is that most birth education courses, really everybody, when you are in the birth field, you understand that relaxation is so important that we're going to condition your body and your mind, especially in ours. We have several guided imageries and actually like lots, and we have more coming all the time because we realize that this is such an important part for you to practice. Yeah. And the cool thing is it helps in your labor, but the effect during your pregnancy is also huge as well. So, sorry about that. So, the effect on your pregnancy is so much more. And just like Nicole was saying, like, there's some anxieties in there. And we specifically speak to that with guided imageries and also fear releases. We have an anxiety guided imagery release. We have a fear release because we're human. Yeah. And that is part of our humanness, is to worry and to have that like,
especially when you are dealing with somebody that is so dependent on you, right? You have this new little baby that's growing inside you that you get to protect while they're in there, but then you have to birth them and take care of them, and your like innate sense of protectiveness of them is like mind-boggling, right? Yeah. You ladies feel it, right? Like it is constantly like you would obviously give your life for this child. Yeah. So we understand that. We want to speak to that. Like we want to honor that about ourselves as humans and women, and then help you to overcome those. And help you to get to like excitement and joy and looking forward to it instead of resisting and being nervous and scared and fear about it. Yes. So that's key number 1. Key number 2 is breathing. Interesting, right? So breathing is actually what facilitates relaxation. So we're bringing it always back to relaxation. Not always, but most of the time. A lot of times. We're bringing it back to relaxation. It's just like the compound effect. Yes. So what's really cool is there are studies out there that have actually proven that when you feel those anxieties, you feel those emotions, like where are you feeling that intense? So you start to feel anxiety, right? But where are you noticing it in your body? Is it in your neck? Is it in your chest? Are you feeling it in your gut? Like in your head, maybe. Notice where you're feeling it, but here's the deal. Those stressor hormones actually, when we start to feel those, it sends a communication, and we aren't even aware of it, but we stop breathing. We stop breathing, but if we are like, okay, I'm feeling it in my neck, and I'm feeling intense in my and if we're like, okay, that means breathe, keep breathing, just breathe, and you take some deep breaths. Those deep breaths actually will stop the secretion of those hormones, those stressor hormones, which cause tension. And then that tension causes the pain. So this isn't even pregnancy. Like, this is totally pregnancy and birth related, like labor related, but it's also like life related. So if you deal with a lot of anxiety, like, practice breathing. Yeah. When you start to go down an anxiety path, and you start to feel a panic attack maybe coming on, or something like,
or just that feeling of like that heaviness in your heart or your chest or your stomach.
When you start to feel yucky, then just like do whatever you can. See if you can figure out some sort of like trigger that's like, okay, take a deep breath. I'm going to breathe it out.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull it out of my body, and I'm going to breathe it out of my body.
I like to imagine it right at my sternum, that solar plexus area. Just breathe into that and out of there, because that's where your diaphragm is opening. And it's when that diaphragm opens that those nerves in your diaphragm are what stimulate the calm, the oxytocin,
the serotonin, the endorphins, just all of those good.
It calms that. So if just focusing on your diaphragm, open and close as slowly and deeply as you can, it will biologically, physiologically align.
Change you. Yeah.
And then that is your bridge back to relaxation. So if you can employ breathing techniques that are long and slow and deep, practicing those, and then your body will relax. That is the second key to having an unmedicated birth.
So those of you that have just joined, we are talking about the 5 different keys of what you need to have an unmedicated birth.
Yeah.
And at the end, we're going to talk, like, these are all things that we really go into in our course. So we're going to talk a little bit about our course at the end, because we are now enrolling. But we'll talk a little bit more about that.
But we want to give you these 5 keys so that you can start them now. And even if you decide not to take our course, you'll have something to support you and help your birth.
Absolutely.
So breathing technique. The third really important thing, the third key is physical support.
Yes.
What? How is physical support going to help you with your unmedicated birth? Well, if you've had an unmedicated birth, you understand that
all hands on deck.
All hands on deck. So physical support really just means everyone around you. So that's your partner. If you hire a doula, if you have nurses around, anyone that can help to...
Maybe your mom or sister there.
Yeah. Oh,
your midwife, your care provider, everybody that, your birth team, essentially.
Yeah.
And going along with... So physical support is actually like hands-on.
Hands-on, physical.
But then there's also just the... that everybody is aware of your like intentions of an unmedicated birth or what you want out of your birth, and they're supportive of it.
Yeah. So
the feeling of support is incredibly important.
Incredibly important for your mentalness. And then the physical support, the actual comfort measures is what we call them. So comfort measures are basically counter pressure where you feel pain. So your uterus is pulling up and it's pulling open your pelvis, and that's the sensation you're feeling, is those muscles moving and then your baby descending. And if you can get, just like when you bump your elbow, I hit my elbow, the first thing you do, anywhere you hurt on your body, you grab it, right? And you just like, oh, that hurts so bad. And that's counter pressure, is that pressure to relieve the pain. And that's what physical support is guiding your support team and your birth team to help you with the most effective counter pressure to ease the pain. That's the first thing. The second thing is that counter pressure and that physical support actually enhances your ability to relax.
Yes, it does.
It always goes back to relaxation.
Yeah, Emily brought up a good point. She said physical support was the hardest aspect of birthing during a pandemic. Yeah, because you didn't have it.
Oh my gosh.
You were restricted with it. And that has
our
been...
hearts are just...
I'm so sorry. It is tragic.
It is tragic. And we are really looking forward to things going more toward including your support people, where it's not so dangerous. So that's what we're looking forward to, and I think we're heading in that direction, because it's important, that physical support. So in our course specifically, we have videos and tutorials about how your support team helps you.
So the nice thing is they can become like on their own time too, they can watch these videos and help to learn how to support you. So then in the moment they know how, and they are able to like, oh, we know that this counter pressure and this
helps specifically
will help.
But I love what Krista just said. Literally having my mom in the room was calming to her. That is beautiful because, like you said, just feeling that support and knowing somebody's there and has your back is huge. We love reading studies, and one of our very favorite studies about a positive birth experience came down to two things. One was experiencing, like the woman felt like she had a positive birth experience because she experienced her own ability and strength through childbirth. And
which is true. Like, those of you that have had babies, like, have you just totally been like, oh my god,
no matter how you had them, you were like
you hold your baby and you're like, this child, like, my body grew this child, and then I had, like, and now they're a living human being outside of me that can function on their own, and it's amazing.
It's a freaking miracle. So honestly, so cool. So and the second big thing was having trustful and supportive relationships through a birth team, care provider.
And Miriam brought that up too. She said with her husband, having my husband help me guide through relaxation breathing during contractions was so helpful for me. Yep. Good. Having that support.
Yes.
And I'm so proud of your husband for showing up like that.
Yeah.
And we will so in our course too, we have we'll give you more details, but we actually have a partner course where we break it down into smaller sections
specifically for your partner.
And we actually had I should go over this later when we talk about it.
We'll talk about it later. But I love what Emily said. She just said, yes, birth is so empowering. Because it is. It is. It's one of the best. So the third key is physical support. The fourth key is let's talk about this. The fourth key to a positive birth experience goes along with what we were talking about with physical support, and it's your care provider's support.
Yeah.
In this study we were speaking about, most women that said they had a positive birth experience felt that their care provider was a guide and felt teamwork with the medical staff. Which
is important. If you're feeling like your care provider is making the decisions for you, then it unfortunately won't go over, like,
you lose control. You lose the decision making.
Yeah, and even if you're just feeling that way, maybe they aren't, but you're feeling like, I just feel like they're always taking over and making the decisions for me and just telling me what I'm supposed to do. Or they won't listen to me, or they won't understand what I'm trying to say. Then we recommend that you get a new one, because you can always get a new care provider. If that works well for you and you like that, then go for it. But the best part is you get to make the choices. And so if you're feeling like you aren't being heard and you aren't getting the choice, like you aren't making the decisions for yourself, you ultimately can make the decision to change care providers. Yes. And you can change your care provider. There's no anytime. Maybe after the baby's born that's too late. It might be a little but even then, you can change even then if you're, but I have had clients that they've had 40-week appointments, and then before the birth they called and hired somebody else because they wanted somebody else at their birth. Because it's important for your birth experience to feel like it's your experience, that it's you understand what they're telling you, and they're a guide. I really loved that verbiage of feeling like your care provider is a guide. They're just saying, okay, here's your choice. Here's what you can do. Here's what you can do. Yeah. And then also, these are your options. This is important because of this. You. Yeah. And so we recommend this, but ultimately, here's the deal. Yeah. You always get to choose. You always get to choose. And then and that they hear and understand your desires and what you want. So we have in our birth course, we have a bunch of questions that you can take to your care provider appointment and ask them specifically, so that you can get a good gauge of how your doctor's going to show up or your care provider's going to show up for you, because it's a big deal. It's a key to a positive birth experience. And the fifth key is releasing fear.
which we kind of already talked about, but we feel like it needs its own key because culturally, like we talked about, there's been a lot of conditioning through the media, movies, and then just passed down from generation to generation.
Which, like, this is a thing that, like, that's a thing. We carry with us generational baggage, not only from, like, past, like, stories that are, like, physically told to us or, like, auditory, like, not that we hear, but also in our cells, in our DNA. And that was the article that we posted in our last post kind of went over that with Black Lives Matter and how racism is actually
a contributing factor
from generations.
For generations.
Just because they maybe aren't experiencing as much racism now, or all of us aren't experiencing as much racism now, the anxiety about it actually is within their DNA, because it says it only goes back to their grandmother, and grandmothers are like, that was the 60s.
They're still alive.
That's like,
and they remember that racism and that persecution and that prejudice, and that is a shared DNA issue with the whole community,
with women that are birthing now, and women and people, everybody now. And so to understand that that's actually you too, like, that's in your, like, you actually are kind of having to overcome those preconceived, like, unconscious fears that you have, that you might not even realize you have.
That you might have picked up from your mom or your grandma or your sister or your best friend.
Or your own birth.
Or that's a big one.
So it's, and a lot of times we don't, because a lot of times people say, well, as long as I have a healthy baby, which is great. And we definitely want a healthy baby.
Yeah.
But also recognizing that, like, we are all emotional and psychological, mental, all spiritual beings. And we are affected in every, especially major life event.
Yep.
And birth is a major life event. So not only is it affecting the mother, but it is also affecting that child. And whether or not you remember your own birth, you actually, what you experienced in your own birth will unconsciously kind of play out in your own pregnancies and births.
It can. So we do that. We have a big section on, releasing fear, and we have in the partner course, we have a pain versus suffering, so that they can help guide you through those fears that you might be pushing up. Because there's a difference.
Yes. When it comes to especially labor, there's a difference between pain versus suffering, and it's really important for partners to understand that, because
recognize,
because like, they just see you in pain and they think, like, oh, dude, let's get you an epidural.
Whatever
like,
we can do.
We need to fix this right now. But understanding, like, okay, there's a difference. But when mom slips into suffering, that's when you do these things, and that's when we help that. So, well, we help it all, but
we do,
but recognizing the difference between.
Yes. And I want to just recognize that Emily and Danielle in the comments have spoken about how dealing with their care providers really added a layer of stress. And
in their labor,
and Emily was one of our students in our last course, so we're really thankful. She gave us a shout out that the things that we taught her husband specifically to ask and to know and to really helped. And he was her advocate.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because when you are in labor, especially when you're unmedicated, you're zoned in. You are tuning out the world, and you're really trying to focus, and that's important. That's how you are coping and handling your labor. And so as things are presented to you, if you are feeling like you have to manage everything, then that can be very stressful. So actually having the conversations with your partner and knowing both where you are and what you want and how you stand, and teaching him how to communicate with your care providers and the medical staff is super helpful. So thank you, Emily, for bringing that up.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. And I want to speak to Kay. I'm going to just call you Kay, because I'm not sure, is talking about how her group of OBs, it's a group, and she's not guaranteed to see one. It's the group of them, right? Which adds a layer of stress because you don't know who you're going to see. And she speaks about how that the OBs are not really even interested in the kind of births she wants. So, Kay, we have a couple things, couple ideas for you. And April, chime in where you think. But my first idea is, because you talk about insurance, that your insurance doesn't cover a private practice. I might call the insurance again and say, this group isn't working for me. Is there another group that's covered by insurance? You could try that. Because insurance will typically cover it. It might be a group as well, but at least it's a different group if you're not satisfied.
And you might have a midwife group too.
There might be a midwife group.
So see what other options you have, and do the free consultation with them. Yeah. Go with a list of questions.
And I know you're almost due, but if you would feel better, that would be good. And then go with a list of questions and concerns, and like, I want this kind of birth. How do you feel about that?
Which we do have a
we'll put that in the email. We'll put a list of we'll put a list
PDF of questions to ask your care provider, especially if you want an unmedicated birth. Yeah. But really, truly, it's just to find the care provider that you jive with.
Yes.
So so that's a really good option. The other one is that you could, two. You can labor at home for as long as possible. Because then, if that's feasible for your labor and delivery
in your situation,
just because then once you get to the hospital, when your labor is like well established, like maybe close to being done, there's a lot less interventions. There's a lot less opinions that come up from outside sources. So there's that one, and then also you could actually I have two more. One is you could write an affirmation that says something like the perfect, I'm so glad, or like let's see, I'm trying, this is coming off the top of my head, but like an affirmation like, I'm so grateful all the exactly right people were at the birth of my baby. And just allow that to be that. Maybe even not your favorite OB walks in the room, but just trust that they're the exact person that needs to be there for the birth of your baby.
Yeah, I love that.
So that's an affirmation. And the third one is, depending on your insurance, like for example, my insurance, I had a high deductible, and I was planning on a group because of my insurance, and then I was faced with the fact that I might get laid off and that I would lose my insurance. And so then I looked into actually home birth and birth centers and other midwives that actually didn't take insurance, and they were cheaper than my deductible.
They were cheaper than the deductible.
I was like,
so think about that.
And truly,
like birth centers, like even a birth center can. Some of them are pay out of pocket, but they'll
take HSA and flex spending accounts and things like that. So because I had a high deductible, I had an HSA, and so I ultimately paid for my baby with my insurance because I had an HSA. But it was cheaper than my deductible. So and I loved that birth experience. And I changed close to 30 weeks. So it was
so it can happen, and we know.
So you have options.
You have lots of options,
but you just feel what feels good to you. Honestly,
yes, because that's one of the keys is a care provider support. So and if you can have all those keys in a row, which are relaxation, breathing, physical support, care provider support, and releasing fears, when those are all in place, your recipe for a really positive birth experience is right there.
No matter how it
unfolds. Sorry, my phone's running out of batteries.
We're getting low on battery.
I know.
But so we wanted to get into a little bit about the course, because here's the deal: we love birth education, and we feel like it's really important that women take childbirth education courses. Yeah. Whether it's from us or whether it's from someone else, find the one that works best for you, that is like you're connecting with and that really feels good.
Yes.
We love teaching. We get a ton of questions, and that's why we built this course, is because we love to teach, and we have
we love birth,
yeah,
it's so
cool. We figured that we will have it and available to offer to everyone, because we want to be at all of your births. Here's the deal: we love you, we think you are all fantastic, and we want to teach you and be at all of your births, and this is the way we figure we can connect even a little bit more with you.
And we have a few. So here's the thing: we want to give you a deal because you're here at our course
let us tell you a little bit about what. So we told you a little bit that we go into all of those, the relaxation.
We have 8 sections, and within each of those sections, we have several lessons. So there's about 48 lessons. Now, don't worry, all of these lessons are
like
between
10 minutes
or under. We have a couple lessons that are like 4 minutes, and they're all video, so you can see and you can read and you can take notes.
Yeah, and they come with corresponding PDFs and videos and like practice videos and things like that you
can interact with.
Yeah.
So it feels like you're in the class. But the cool thing is you have access to them whenever you want.
Yeah.
So if the only time you can do your videos is at 6 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock at night, it's not like a class that you have to be there. You can partake of these videos whenever and however you want. So that's one of our favorite things, is it's really for you. But we don't want you to miss out on the interactive space with us and other class members. And that's why we built it kind of as a class, because we have a private Facebook group where everybody joins the Facebook group, and we go live once a week with questions, and we dive a little deeper into some of the intricacies of what you learned that week.
Because we tried to keep the videos concise and things that you really needed to know. And so in the live Facebook groups, we go, like, if you have any additional questions, we go into those. There's a few things that we were like, okay, this is a little too much to layer on, but then once you had a time to digest a little bit of the class or of those specific lessons, then we layer on a little bit more in the Facebook groups as well. But
so that's really fun. And then our favorite part of this course, we give you a bonus. So not only are you getting a birth education course that's comprehensive, goes over every aspect of birth. We're talking the function of the body, mind-body connection, breathing techniques, nutrition, exercise, how to physically support your body. We go into the fear release, all of that, but we do not, and then everything that happens at the birth. We tell you everything that's going to happen, questions to ask, and how to advocate for yourself. But then we do not want to leave you at your birth.
And also postpartum. Oh,
that's
sorry.
what I was saying. Oh. We don't want to leave you just at the birth. We want to make sure that you are prepared for that postpartum time, because your postpartum experience is just as transformational as your birth is. So we want to make sure you're set up for success with a beautiful postpartum, that you're aware of what you need, and then you help manage the expectations of everybody else before you even give birth. So we give you all the tools that you need in order to make your postpartum as successful as possible. And as we go through that, so that's the course, and then all the corresponding PDFs, all of that, the live Facebook group, and then a bonus partner course. Yes. This is our favorite. And I have to say, the reason it's our favorite, I don't know if you want to say anything, is because we condensed all the information that a partner would need, like the nitty gritty. So if your partner is not interested in sitting and watching the videos with you,
the whole course with you,
there's 5 lessons, and they're all like 10 to 12 minutes of watching.
Well, like some of them might be 20.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Is there a 20-minute?
But it's 20 minutes.
That's it.
We're talking.
There's 5 of them.
There's 5 lessons, and we break it down to pregnancy, then the birth, and like what's happening in the birth, and what they should do, and then or
all the tools,
and then the tools. The third lesson is pregnancy and the tools, like the comfort measures and things like that. The fourth, I guess the second one, but the fourth one is pain versus suffering. Mm-hmm. So we really we teach them how to support you, honestly, of like how to recognize what's going on with you, how to watch and tune in with what is happening. in with you, so you don't have to worry about managing them.
And so, yes, exactly, because I feel like a lot of women, their issue is they want their partner to support them, but don't know how to ask.
Yeah.
So we are telling your partner what to do. And you don't even have to tell them.
We wrote the whole, like, it's a lot of the same information, but we wrote it to them. Yes. So we're like, okay, there's some sports references. Yes. There's some things that it's like, okay, do you understand this? This is how it relates and correlates. So
it was so fun to write. It was really fun to write, and we really feel like we hit most of the of the high points.
I mean, here's the deal. There's very few like pregnancy looking photos. Most of them are memes. Like,
they're fun and it's interesting.
And then we go into postpartum. And there's things, though, here's the deal. In the partner course, there's things that we put in with more emphasis and more information. Mm-hmm. So, like, for example, in the partner course, in the postpartum one, we give them a whole PDF on signs of postpartum depression, mm-hmm. so that they can be aware. Alina experienced postpartum depression and had her husband just been somebody had just said, like, hey, if your wife is doing maybe this or this,
help her.
Like, here's how you help, and here's how. Yeah. Because he saw that she was different, but he didn't realize that actually was what it was.
And the way he coped with it was he didn't know how to fix it. He didn't know how to help me, so he
separated himself more. Yeah,
which was not helpful. So,
well, he was traveling a ton too. So
and he was. It's true, but that's if I had been able to understand what was happening in my body. So that's why we educate you on what's happening in your body, so you can ask. But then we also educate the partner, because sometimes you have no idea that why are you feeling this way, and why isn't it normal, and why shouldn't you be normal? And then they can be like, oh, okay, she needs these are a few things that she needs.
Yeah.
And then, and how to get that help. So we feel like the partner course is such a good one. And that is a bonus. Like, we don't charge you extra for that. And that's what's so fun about it, is most birth education courses do not come with a very specific.
Well, and here's the deal. Most childbirth education classes are talking to the mom, because guess what? You are the one that is going through it. You you might be there with your partner, and so there mm-hmm. might be some like, okay, here's some good information for you, but we within the partner course, we're like, okay, listen, this is all you need to know. This is just for you. This is all you need to know. This is
so if your partner's having a hard time digesting it with you, they can digest it on their own, and you'll have your bases covered. So that's exciting. And we just are thrilled to be able to give that as part of this course. And we just need to, Angie was one in our class, and she is giving us a sweet shout out. She says, first time mommies, if pregnancy and labor scares you or causes anxiety, these classes help so much. It will be the best decision you can make. Aww. Alina and April are the best.
Thanks, Angie. We love you.
And that's part of it. We're now all best friends.
Yeah, all of our students, we just, seriously, you have our hearts.
Yep.
I want you to know you're now sisters to us. We truly love you. Yeah. And we've had 2 of our students have had their babies already.
And they're the cutest.
Sweetest. Oh my gosh. It is.
It's the best. Well, it's one of the best parts of this whole experience, is being able to go through these pregnancies and then see these babies and just share with each other. And it's so exciting. It's so nice to know you have this sisterhood.
Even when they don't unfold the way you think or want. And it's nice to have a place that you feel safe to ask questions or
no question goes unanswered, and we will, if we don't know the answer, we will figure it out, because you need to feel safe in this whole experience.
Jeannie, is 38.5 weeks too late to take the course? Okay, here's the deal. You get access to it today, and it's as fast as you want to go through it. So it's totally up to you if you feel like it would benefit you. Okay, here's the deal too. We have taught in-person classes for mm-hmm. years, and I've had women at 36, 37 weeks take my in-person classes that we actually had to go over
really fast.
Span of days though. Yeah. And they had wonderful, beautiful, successful, fantastic births. So it's kind of a personality thing. I I like to plan things, so I like took my childbirth education class before I knew the gender of my baby, but then there's some that are like in the last couple weeks are like, oh, I feel like I could use something, teach me.
Yes, and that's what's really beautiful about this course is it's self done. So if you are 38 and a half weeks pregnant, if you want to just blow through it and take 2 days and just go through everything and feel like you're prepared,
and print out the
so
things
awesome.
And use the practice videos, and
as much as you can.
Kind of fill
and
out
if it can just provide some relief and for you, yes. So it's self-paced. So yes, it's never too late to take this class. And I love what Emily said. She's 3 weeks postpartum and she's still going through the class because you can still use the information even after you've had the baby, especially that postpartum information and the mind-body connection. That can very much help with
your life.
Your
whole life.
Yeah.
Honestly, I listened. Okay, so like truly, if I'm having a night that I'm like, I can't get to sleep, I'm like really struggling. Like if I turn on any of the guided imageries, I like fall asleep so quickly and I sleep deeper and more restful. So
it's so good. And I love that. So we had a question is how long is the access? So we give you 9 months of access. So that is, it's 9 months just because we love 9 months because it's 9 months gestation. So if you join at 38.5 weeks, you still have 9 months, like regardless.
And if you're like 3 weeks pregnant, then you still have 9 months of access.
You have 9 months of access to all of the information, the videos and everything. So we just are really excited about this class, and we hope that you will join, and we hope you'll spread the word to anyone that you know that is having a baby.
Yeah.
And even if they're just entertaining the idea of maybe I want an unmedicated birth, again, it's useful for any type of birth.
And just the beauty of any childbirth education class, but especially one that is geared to unmedicated, is it really is focusing on your mental state. Mm-hmm. And just like we had a few of our sweet ladies say that like unmedicated, birth in general is a mental game. It's 90% mental. And so if you have something that is really focusing on getting you aligned, getting you focused, getting you relaxed, getting you so that you feel like you are ready for it, then it doesn't matter how your birth unfolds. You will know and be able to make those decisions as they come up and feel at peace with everything. Yes. So that's the goal is we love to think about our ideal births. Actually, we think that that's really, really powerful. But then there's also the wonderful thing of if there is anything unforeseen that comes up in your birth, because that's the biggest issue is like, I don't want to get my hopes up because everybody that says that you make a birth plan, that just means that you're going to have an awful birth. It's all in your head. Like
in
you
your
get
education.
To in your education. You get to choose if that is how if you see your birth. But you get to be ultimately at peace if whatever comes up, if you get to make those decisions as well.
You feel like you're in control. And that's what all the studies say. A positive birth experience are feeling supported, feeling like you're in control, and the confidence that comes with like, I did it! I did this! Yeah. So we are excited. And because
Kimberly is asking, how often do you open registration? Okay, we do once a quarter. Yeah. So if you're not ready yet.
So a summer, winter, summer,
fall.
Whatever. Winter, spring, summer, fall.
Yeah.
Something like that. So that's
once a quarter. So 4 times a year we get. Yeah. So if you're like, I'm a little early, or I'm not quite pregnant, or not quite pregnant,
then registration will come again
in the fall. So
pretty soon. Typically, and we might even, depending on class sizes, we might do several classes. Yeah. So it just kind of depends, but we for sure will do it at least 4 times a year.
But we definitely want to give you a special
because we're best friends
and we love you so much. So the course price is $247 originally, or like normally, but because we love you, we want to take $50 off. Yes. And so if you go to the link in our bio, right at the top it says now enrolling for Unmedicated Birth Academy. Click on that. It will take you to the page that will offer you the class for $197.
Yeah, $197 for the 8 modules, the partner course, the private Facebook group.
And all of the PDFs and videos and everything.
So all the things.
And guess what? If you download all of those, you have them forever. Yeah. So even though you have access to the course for 9 months, you get those things that you download forever.
Yes. So forever. So we are just excited. We hope to see many of you in our class. And if you, again, spread the word, because, and anybody watching this replay, we will leave it open for 24 hours. We'll leave this $50 deal for 24 hours. Yes. Just email us and we will get you this deal. And we're just really excited. We're excited. You, and we love teaching. And Emily and Angie, thanks for being here and being our cheerleaders.
They are both our students, and it's such a great class. Thank you for saying that, Emily. You're so sweet.
We think it is too.
It is.
We love it.
We're so grateful to spread what we know. So.
Yes. So don't forget those 5 keys. I'll tell you right before we go. First key to a positive birth experience is relaxation. Breathing is the second key. Physical support, care provider support, and releasing fear. And those are all ways. And if you decide not to take the class but need a little bit of extra coaching, just DM us or email us, and we are happy to answer some questions.
Mm-hmm. So, absolutely. Okay.
Okay, have the best
good night. We will talk to you soon.
Bye.